Now, I want to transition into something that's kind of, for those people that maybe couldn't sell their property, don't want to do a short sale and couldn't sell their property. And we're talking about luxury property owners.
Right.
So we're running into this a lot, Paul, and I'm sure you can kind of, attest to it. But, the average priced homes in the area, let's just call it, anything up to 400, those homes are selling, and they're selling well, and they're moving quickly.
Right.
And again, when I say this isn't a blanket statement because every neighborhood's different. There's some neighborhoods where $1 million homes fly off the shelf in a week. But some of the higher priced homes right now are sitting on the market, they're taking longer to sell, and they're restricting people from either being able to upgrade or move to somewhere else they want.
Right.
And, obviously the folks that, are underwater, a short sale is an option for them, but there's plenty of people that aren't underwater or feel like property values are going up and don't want to sell, and they're thinking about renting the home.
Right.
There's, positives and negatives to it, so I'll let you talk about, what you guys can do to help somebody that is thinking about renting, a luxury property.
Right. There are tenants out there, matter of fact, I have one that I'm actively searching for a home for this individual. He wants to spend in the $7,000 to $8,000 range.
Right.
Per month. And that's a very meticulous individual, and he wants what he wants, as do most owners,
Sure.
most buyers. But there's not a lot out there. That's the problem. So it's harder to find that little nugget for him. So the luxury rental market is something that's not so available to tenants, but tenants are available for that.
Perfect.
So
So that's a good
good
sign for owners that are thinking
Right.
about it. The toughest part about it that I always look at is, if you're somebody who has, let's just say you have $1 million home and you're gonna rent it. When you really do the math, as the prices rise, when you do the math, it's hard to justify a return on investment compared to, get rid of your $1 million home and go buy $500,000 to $200,000 homes.
Right.
You're gonna do better. You're gonna
Sure.
do better from a return standpoint. But there's some people that just say, oh, I kind of want to hold on to it. I don't want to deal with selling it. Maybe there's an emotional attachment, so they'd rather hold it for a year or two. But a lot of times those people could do much better if they got with me and to sell it,
Right.
got with you to say, look, invest that money, buy $500,000 to $200,000 homes. We can rent them for you, and you're going to make a way better return than you would renting your $1 million home.
Right.
Even though there might be a supply and demand benefit, there's the numbers. A $1 million home still won't return as well as $500,000 to $200,000 homes.
Right, well, that's just basic economy of scale. I mean, you have one home, no matter what price range it is, if you have 1 month missing rent, that can deplete your whole return on investment.
Especially, whereas if you have $500,000 to $200,000 homes, you lose one of them, and
Right.
you're
still absorbed
okay.
by the other four.
Yeah.
So what are you saying there, Andrew? Are you saying that you take the analysis of, because obviously the reason it's not selling more than likely is because it's priced too high,
Probably correct.
right?
Yep.
And so you have to analyze the numbers, since I'm a numbers guy,
Right.
right?
That's right.
Is that how much do I have to drop this price
Right.
to
Right.
sell versus how much of a negative rental do I have
Right.
Correct.
versus how much do I think the house might go up in value in the next year or so, right?
Well, correct.
Yeah.
And so here's what a lot of people do, and they say, oh, well, it only is going to take me a certain period of time to get back to my number, so I'm going to hold on to it for 12 months. But if they just cut their loss, take their whatever their loss is right now, and then go out and buy $500,000 to $200,000 homes, they're going to gain way more than
Right.
the appreciation of the $1 million home was going to catch up to, because those $200,000 homes are going to get better cash flow, and they're going to appreciate too.
Right.
And they're probably going to appreciate at a better percentage clip.
Right, but also think about this, the people who have those $1 million homes, we spoke the other week about next generation and those, the different mindset wants pretty fast now rather than buy, hold,
Sure.
appreciate. So they may be in a transitional state where their houses, they have to move, but they still want that house when they come back.
Sure.
So to
So
rent
they
in the
hold
short
on
term.
to it and rent it because they play. We
Right.
see that a lot in the military.
Yeah,
We see
absolutely.
that a lot in
And
the
I deal a
military
lot
where,
with that too.
being close to McDill, where we have someone that's an officer that's got a really nice home here, and they want to live in Tampa forever, but they get sent somewhere for a
Right.
couple years.
But
so
the military
they
has
can rent
other
it for a
ideas
couple years.
for the moment.
Yeah, so if you're a military person, again, it makes sense because you're going to come back and use that home, so you don't want to
Right.
sell it
Right.
and then re-buy back in when prices are higher, and you don't want to deal with lots of rentals because you're going to be overseas fighting for our country.
Right. And also too, something that you and I have struck out on a couple times is dual listing.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to take it off the market per se,
Sure.
but if it's one of those that's a slow price point, we can put it for rent.
Right, you can
and
do both.
Get the best of both worlds.
Sure,
That way
see
we
which
really
one
take care of
works.
the customer.
I gotta go. How much harder is it to sell a home that's being rented versus one that's not being rented?
I'll be honest, pretty hard.
It is,
And
depending
it's-
upon the tenant and the lease.
It's pretty hard, and again, because you got, you've got somebody who doesn't have a vested interest in the sale that occupies the property. They may not keep the house as nice because they don't really have a vested interest, and it's not that, I'm not saying that tenants aren't clean, because I think a lot of them are very clean.
Absolutely.
But they're also more, they're more protective of the space because they don't have a vested interest. What I always tell landlords is, if you're gonna sell a property with a tenant in it, get the tenants buying by offering them something.
Yeah,
A discount
that's what
on
I'm about to say.
That's what we
rent,
do.
or
Yeah,
some sort of
absolutely.
perk or something
Right,
while it's on
good
the
advice.
market, so they're into it. Like, if you don't turn down any showings, you get this, or whatever. And
make it a win-win.
So tenant occupied properties can be very challenging, and especially when you're talking about single family homes. I mean, if
Right.
we're talking about a 16-unit apartment building, he needs to be, the guy doesn't want to buy that all vacant.
Right.
He doesn't want to do that. But it can be an obstacle, and it can be an obstacle too with the terms of the lease, depending on what the notice is for landlord or landlord's agents in the lease for how often we can show it. If it says 24 hours or 48 hours, I mean, it could be, you could lose buyers, because unfortunately today some buyers will call and give us, hey, we want to see it in an
Right.
hour.
We're in front of it right now.
Yeah, and
We
you
get
can't
that
get them
too.
in, so it can be a challenge.